Hey, this episode of Courageous Worth wraps up our 4-part series about getting involved with things that break our heart, different injustices that we're passionate about. And we started off this series talking about how often we feel overwhelmed, and that feeling of overwhelmed keeps us from showing up at all, which is the worst thing. And so if you want to go back and listen to that, you can check that out at any time. In the following episode, we talked about how the first step is the most important step, and it's one that lots of people step over, which is education. How education is the most powerful thing that we can do, especially if we are not the people being oppressed, not the ones suffering about the injustice or whatever the cause is that's breaking your heart. So educating yourself, again, you can listen to that video as well anytime you need to. And then the third episode was about how when you're involved in really, taking part in things that are going on and trying to make positive change, that you really have to practice self-care and rejuvenation. If not, you will get worn out emotionally, physically, mentally, all the ways, and that will hurt the injustice and the impact that you're trying to make, as well as every other area of your life. So go back and listen to that one as well whenever you need those reminders. So for this final episode, we're wrapping it all up and we're making a plan for how we can put all this together, how we can actually take steps in the ways that we want to. So this one's going to be a little bit more of lists of things to do. So the very first thing is I want you to get a piece of paper or pull out your phone to make some notes. On it, I want you to think of what are the top 5 things that are breaking your heart, the top 5 causes, the top 5 injustices. You can pause this episode, write it down, and then come back when you have that list. Okay, now that you have that list, beside each one, I want you to number it from 1 to 5 based on which one you are the most passionate about. I know that everything on those lists are things that you really want to see changes made, but which ones are the ones that you just feel a little bit stronger about you personally. You're not saying that the other issues are less or more important. It's just the ones that you feel the most motivated about right now at this point in your life. So number 1 being the one that you feel the most passionate about, and then number 5 being the one that you feel the least. Okay, now that you've got that done, beside number 4 and 5, the ones that you wrote down 4 and 5, I want you to put the word later. And then beside 2 and 3, I want you to put the word education. And then for number 1, I want you to write education and action. So what we're doing is we're taking a look at all these things that break our hearts, and we're trying to find ways that we can be involved in a way that doesn't overwhelm us, but that also is being true to our hearts and that we are taking action. So number 4 and 5, it says later because we're going to focus on those later. Okay, the next season in life, the next, 3 months down the road, 6 months, a year, whatever it looks like. Because if we pour ourselves into all the areas that break our heart, we're not going to go really far in being that helpful in anything. And again, we'll feel overwhelmed. So leave number 4 and 5 off for another day. And then for numbers 3 and 2, it says education. So with those, we're just going to spend some time educating ourselves. When you start to educate yourself, you are going to see how important education is. And you'll be able to contribute a little bit in conversations you get into with other people. You can educate some other people. And the more that people are educated about the realities of whatever the injustice is, of the misconceptions, anything like that, it really is helping. So for numbers 2 and 3, I just want you to educate yourself to the point where you know a few things. I want you to know who are the players. And by that, I mean, who are the people that are being oppressed, or if it's environmentalism, it could be animals, it could be water, it could be the air, whatever it is. What is the thing, people, whatever, that are being oppressed, that are suffering because of this injustice? And then who are the ones being the oppressors? Who are the ones that are benefiting from this, that are causing the pain? And so I want you to be able to really know who are the main players at work in this injustice. And then next is where. It could be when and where, but where is this taking place? For example, with things like human trafficking. A lot of times we think, oh, this only takes place, in certain parts of town, like this would never take place in a country club area in a nice neighborhood, when that's not true. I've actually been to a luncheon where I learned about how someone that was living in the wealthiest community in the city I live in was running a whole ring of human trafficking. So it's being aware of where is this taking place. Again, that's just enlightening you so you know the truth of the situation. And then what exactly is going on? So it's knowing, how does this take place? What are all the different forms? Is this just on an individual basis? Are there systemic, that word, I think you know what I'm going for, ways that it is showing up. And so just figuring out all the different layers. With any injustice, it's not just a simple sentence. There's so much to learn. So just, educating yourself enough to know a lot of the main driving factors, how it takes place, what is happening, what the oppression really is about, what the suffering really is about. And next is the how. How is this continuing to prevail? How, what are the things that are happening that if they don't change, this injustice will continue? And how are the ways that people are making positive change? Figure out kind of like what are both forces at work and what are they doing? And so if you can answer those questions, who, what, where, and how, you will have so much knowledge that is such a great introductory to the issue. You'll be able to step into some conversations. You'll be able to correct some false thinking. As I mentioned in the education video, there are so many misconceptions about any injustice, and those misconceptions can be so dangerous, and it just helps the injustice to continue until we're educated and we educate other people to break those misconceptions and show why they're not true, and then educate people as to what the truth is. So again, for number 2 and 3, that's all you're going to do. So maybe you're like, you know what, I'm going to spend one weekend really educating myself on this one issue. And then I'm going to spend the next weekend educating myself on the other issue. It's whatever looks good for you, for your time frame and what's going on in your life right now. But just make a plan. And then you can even have a thing where you discuss it with someone, or maybe you ask a friend, hey, I really want to learn about this. Do you want to learn about this too? Because so much good comes from us just having these conversations and really exploring this and sharing what we're learning. So then it's issue number 1 that you've written down. So you're going to do the same thing. You're going to educate yourself in the same way, but you're going to go much deeper. So for that one, you're probably going to read a few books, maybe watch a webinar that is going over this issue. And you're going to also educate yourself to find out who are the people that are really involved in change right now, and what are all the ways that you can step in to help. That's one of the great things about social media right now, is that you can find all these people who have already been in the fight that you're seeking to get in, and you can find out ways that you can help. And so that's it. That's it. So make the plan, figure out, hey, maybe this is your goal for the next 3 months, is that you can get to a place where you've educated yourself on your top 2 and 3. I don't know what's going on with my hand if you're watching this on the video. Top 2 and 3 issues. And then number 1, educate yourself even further on that issue and figure out how to get involved. You can get involved. It could be financially that you're getting involved. It could be volunteering. It could be educating other people. There are so many ways, and you'll find out the more that you learn about the issue that you're passionate about, the different ways that can help, that align with you. As I've said in all these videos, no one is asking you to be the hero. Do what you can with what you have and at a pace that keeps you in the fight. And then just go through this whole process again every 3 months, every 6 months. It could be that you're just going to stay with this number one passion, and that's going to be your main passion. And every once in a while, you're going to educate yourself on some other issues that really matter to you. Or it could be that, you're seeking action in multiple areas. It's going to look different for everyone. This is just a starting place to help you get some footwork to stepping in and figuring out how you can help. So I hope this series has been helpful for you. I hope that it has taken away a lot of the overwhelm. I would love to hear what you've thought of it. I would love to hear steps that you're taking to educate yourself in these different areas that you're passionate about. So leave a comment on YouTube or social media. Let me know what you've thought about this series. And remember, you showing up for the things that break your heart are important, not just for the issue at hand, but it means that you're being true to yourself.